Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at Transformers Studio Series number 50. This is Deluxe Class World War II Autobot Hot Rod. This is the first toy of Hot Rod we've received in Studio Series. The last figure he got was actually in the Last Night toy line, and it was decent. It was a heavy retool of Lockdown, which made it much better than the base mold. But it was a little lacking as far as some details. Didn't come with a weapon, which was a shame. And it was also very hard to find, at least here in the States. I think you had to get it from Walmart's website, and that was like the only way to get it. So this toy is not a new mold. It's actually a retool of the World War II Bumblebee figure. So naturally, we'll be comparing it with that. And on that note, if you've seen my reviews and know how this goes, we're going to take a look at Hot Rod's packaging. We're going to see his instructions, and then we'll bust him out, take a look at Hot Rod in both his robot and vehicle modes, do some comparisons, group shots along the way, and then at the end I'll get my final thoughts. So here he comes in his standard deluxe packaging. You got the Transformers The Last Night logo down here, with this cool render of him with his, I don't know what you call these, machine guns or whatever they might be. Got Hot Rod front and center, and he's pretty small, especially being a retool of Bumblebee. He's not going to be very big. You see his guns here, which are pretty hefty, very impressive. And so far I can tell you I really like his paint job. He is much more painted up than the Bumblebee toy was, so you can see they put a lot more into the paint budget here with this guy. So that's always nice to see. Looks very good. On the side you get a close-up of his face and those big old freaky blue eyes. Then we turn him over to the back and you got your renders of the robot and vehicle modes. It takes 24 steps to transform him. And then his backdrop is listed as World War II flashback, and pretty sure it's the same one that came with Bumblebee. I'll have to verify that. And you got this little excerpt here, which is cool. Hot Rod teams up with Bumblebee to provide serious firepower during an assault on an enemy stronghold. We're not going to say what enemies, because it's current year, and that's a no-no subject, but if you know your history. So yeah, looking pretty cool. And then on the side, you just get a bigger version. I don't know if it's bigger. Actually about the same size, so that's different. But at least it's a full body shot this time of his render. Okay, here's our look at Hot Rod's instructions. You got his name, number 50, all that fun stuff. Look at all that surface detail, huh? It's beautiful. Right here, just shows you where to place his weapon. And I didn't really talk about this, but despite the box art, he only comes with one of these guns, so boo, lame. Freaking Hasbro cutting corners on us. So anyway, here's a transformation to his armored vehicle mode. Wraps around in the back, shows you where his weapon goes in said mode, and also shows you that you can alternatively store it on the top instead of coming out of the little canopy there. Then you just got some cross cells for Bumblebee, and then the next toy in the series, Soundwave. And here's Hot Rod's vehicle mode. You can see it's got a lot of paint just right along the sides. Got this like blackening effect going on, which is really, really cool. I can already tell that this panel right here on each side has been retooled from Bumblebee. A lot more going on now. Here's his machine gun thing. And you can see it looks really good coming out of the front of the vehicle there. The underside, a whole bunch of robo kibble. That's unfortunate, but it's just part of the design. Probably the worst part is his feet showing from the front of the vehicle. Bumblebee's got the same issue, so that is one of the bigger flaws with this mold. Now, if you want to switch this machine gun, you can always do that. You slide it out. That's the way it goes in, right? Kind of these grooves here. You just slide in like so. Slide it out, close the top, and then just plug it in here. Actually, I think you have to turn it around, huh? A little different than the Bumblebee one. There you go. So that just gives it more mobility. You can turn it, shoot the bad guys, pew pew, all that fun stuff. And just gives you an extra option, which is always great. Okay, now here he is with Bumblebee. And the most immediate difference is their choice of weaponry. It's completely different between these two. Bumblebee actually comes with two, unlike Hot Rod here. I don't know why they keep jipping Hot Rod with his movie toys and or weapons. I mean, the other Hot Rod just didn't have any. Anyway, so obviously that's the big difference there. And then, as I noted earlier, these panels, it's been retooled over here to have these extra, I don't know, like ammo containers or something on the side there. Not really sure. I think the rest of the vehicle shell is exactly the same. Looks like it. And of course down here you have the retooled chest and retooled head to look forward to. So yeah, they kept them mostly the same, but at least changed enough to where it's more than just a new head retool. That's always nice. Right now to transform Hot Rod, I'm going to start by lifting up the roof of the vehicle here. I'm going to remove the weapon if you haven't already. I'm going to spin this thing around. Get out of the way. We're going to lift these up and away and take this section right here, kind of fold it back for a moment, and we are going to remove this whole backpack area. Just kind of lift it up off of old Hot Rod there. Fold these panels in. Doesn't really matter the order, they can fold in on each other either way. Press this down, and now get this out of the way. And lift up his chest and head at the same time until they kind of click into place. And rotate his rear wheels and shoulders around. Oh, I'm getting stuck here. All right, rotate them around until they tab into his chest piece. It should go in there pretty firmly. Rotate his fists out. Readjust his arms. All right, now we're gonna swing this whole bit in. It's not gonna plug in or anything, it's just gonna kind of rest there. This top panel, fold it down there and there, make it flush. These wheels are just gonna go right up against his backpack. You separate the legs, pull these panels out and away, bring his feet down, rotate the wheels in, and then with some finesse, you're gonna get these to slide right in there like that. So the same thing here, put the feet down, fold the wheel in, turn, slide in, so it fits, and there you go. So you get Hot Rod to stand up. These beautiful blue eyes, look at those. And let's go ahead, give him his weapon. Now this is his robot mode, and it's very, very posable. You got ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed head. His waist does turn, but it's not going to get very far because of the big old backpack. He has ratcheted elbows, so it's got some stability. The wrists, they just kind of swing in and out for transformation. They don't really move. Ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, very loose thigh swivel. That's scary. Single bed knees, and then the feet and ankles are unfortunately pretty much stuck in place. So moderate amount of posability. Kind of on the typical level of a Studio Series toy. Not quite where like Siege or Earthrise would have it. All right, and one thing to watch out for is he is a bit back heavy, so you got to pose him carefully. He shares that issue with his mold mate Bumblebee because, you know, both have a big old backpack. But yeah, that's him, and he looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, numerous paint apps, so much surface detail, even more so than Bumblebee because of the retooled parts, and a really, really well done head sculpt. He just looks good all around. I'm digging it. Here's Hot Rod with his Last Night toy, and you can see the Last Night toy just towers over the Studio Series figure. Now that's pretty ironic because the base mold Lockdown that this guy is made from is really short. He's actually much closer in height to our Studio Series toy. And then when they retooled it, they made him much bigger. So there's a bit of irony in that they actually made him out of scale with his future self, or I guess past self in this case. So that is unfortunate, but he's still a nice looking figure. A bit hollow up top. Now I will say that the paint applications and plastic colors used for our new hot rod are much better. This guy just uses a jet black, which it's accurate to his vehicle mode. It's supposed to be black. But this guy using this like really dark, like charcoal gray color with black just gives a lot more for the eyes to kind of feast on. He also uses a more orange shade of red rather than his like very just plain red. Very different head sculpts. He's got a much wider head, which is much more screen accurate looking, honestly. But yeah, I mean, they're a nice little pair. It does make me hope that Hot Rod's modern day form maybe gets another attempt in Studio Series. Maybe that'll come sometime in 2020 or 2021. We'll have to see, keep an eye out for that. Because while this toy is much better than its base mold, it just really kind of pales in comparison to what they can do nowadays. And now here's Bumblebee in his robot mode, just so you can see again how these two compare. And one thing I didn't spot or didn't point out looking at the vehicle modes, the upper arm piece has been retooled from Bumblebee as well. And I like a lot more because I'm a look of having actual pauldrons instead of these little skinny robot arms. But yeah, they really do, despite mostly sharing parts, stand out from each other. Between the coloration, the new chest and head and all that stuff, different weapons, it's a really good way to get multiple uses out of one mold without making it feel very samey. And now, having these two together, you can reenact that World War II scene fighting the bad guys who shall not be named. But yeah, these two, they look great as a pair. I love all the little call-outs and decals. He's got like the number 10 here, he's got 12 there. Hot Rod, he's got this cool little symbol, which I'm not entirely sure what that is. Something alien looking. He's got a symbol here on his leg. He's got that D2 on the other leg. There's a lot going on there. A lot of attention to detail. I am digging it. I think the only thing I don't like about this Hot Rod figure is the fact that he doesn't come with a second gun. Bumblebee's got a gun and a big old hammer. Why couldn't Hot Rod get a second gun? Was that really out of the question for the budget? I mean, it comes to total plastic used, I imagine it'd be about the same between him and Bumblebee, but who knows? Who knows how the mysterious gods at the place we call Hasbro and Takara, how they work. So anywho, my final thoughts on this guy. He is a very, very cool rendition of Hot Rod, who hasn't gotten much love when it comes to action figures. Yeah, movie Hot Rod specifically. The fact that he's a retool really doesn't hurt him because he's retooled so well and so creatively that he just feels very different while still having some aesthetic matching to Bumblebee, so they look good as a unit. And do I think you should pick him up? Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen any in the stores. Their way's been kind of hard to find, but you can probably still find them online. Or if you get lucky, your Walmart or Target might have them. So if you do spot this guy, go ahead and pick him up. I think he's a lot of fun and just something a little different, right? You don't typically see Transformers turning into realistic World War II era war vehicles. Or ground vehicles anyway. So I think it makes him very appealing as a collector's piece. Heck, you don't even have to be a Transformers fan. You can just be like a World War II nut, like a history buff, and still want to pick him up. So it's got that going for him. But of course, that is just how I feel about this toy. Do you agree with me? Do you think he's a very worthy retool? I'd love to know what you all think in the comments section. If you enjoyed this look at Hot Rod, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you did like it and you would like to see more from me. If you do want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for taking a trip back in time with me to World War II and checking out Hot Rod along with his buddy Bumblebee. And with all that said, I will see you next time.